Hi guys, this is week 8 and I wanted to go over with you guys some things about our fish tank. So I want to show you guys the fish tank and keep you updated with the fact that they're okay and they're home with me and in my kitchen. And I wanted to go over some of the cycles that are happening in the tank because the fish stayed alive for 2 months without care and without food, and it's still kind of amazing to me. So I'm gonna flip the camera so you guys could see on the other side. All right, here are the fish. They're swimming happily. They come on here, come to the front of the tank. They still recognize who I am. I guess they know I'm their feeder. And in the back, if I show you on this side, we still have our mangrove, and our mangrove has grown some propeller or props, and those are what the roots are called. And so usually when the mangrove falls from the tree, the mangrove is the seed, it'll fall and the props or the prop roots will grow to the side to stabilize the plant so that it can become larger. And those roots have actually grown out since the last time we had the tank in the school. When I picked up the tank, it was really dirty. We had some black algae growing on some of these plants, so they're still recovering. Another thing about the mangroves. The mangroves, remember, we planted some of those in the freshwater and we planted some in the saltwater as well. The saltwater ones actually grew a lot more than this freshwater one did. The one in the saltwater has huge roots, and I will, if you come on Zoom, I'll show them to you guys tomorrow. I don't have them here. I can't put them in the fresh water, or actually I can. So once they go in the fresh water, I can't put them back in the salt water because they have these little vesicles that will excrete the salt from the water. But if they are too long in the fresh water, they will not be able to do that any longer, and so they will end up dying. So in any case, this one's doing nice in here. And it's actually one of the reasons why the tank or the fish stayed alive. And so mangroves are really important in our ecosystem in the Everglades and whatnot because they are able to absorb high levels of nitrates and nitrites and convert that into some of their nutrients that they need in order to survive. And when they extract that from the water, they allow fish to live a lot easier. And so in this little tank, there are tons of cycles occurring. So nitrogen fixation is one of those. And we talked about nitrogen fixation last week. In this plant here, it's called the sword tail, I think, or the sword plant. I don't know what it's called. Something sword. And he has been in my tanks for many years, actually. He's been maybe around for, I want to say, maybe 6 years. So every time I've had a fish, this plant has been inside the tank with that fish. It has been an amazing plant. The fish like to eat the roots. And when food is not available, the fish will actually eat the roots as their nutrient source. And the plant absorbs, again, a lot of the nitrogen, nitrates, nitrites that the fish produce with their urine and their feces. And so these plants will be able to collect a lot of that phosphate, things that are bad for them that they will excrete, the plants will use as their nutrients and then use that for their growth. And when they produce their ATP and go through photosynthesis, then they will release the oxygen into the water that the fish need in order to survive. So you see, the cycle doesn't work without the other. So had we not had these plants inside the fish tank, those fish would have not survived. They would have not been able to survive. The plant in the back actually is a very low light plant, and that plant is able to survive without the light on. So the entire time that these fish and this tank was in the room, the light was off. And so that plant was able to survive with just the little bit of light that was entering through the windows in the classroom. The moss is also really important. You notice the top of the moss is a little darker black because it's still healing and trying to come back to what it was before, but the moss absorbs a lot of nutrients as well from the water so that the fish can live. The substrate at the bottom, remember we talked about carbonate and carbon and whatnot. So the substrate allows a lot of the excess nutrients to trap under, and so the fish can survive at this level, and the nutrients or excess nutrients can stay under here. The plants will then root or place their roots very deep within that substrate, and the substrate allows for the plant to have its structure, and they're able to put their roots into here and grab whatever nutrients are left over. So if I kind of zoom in, I could show you some of these roots that are working here. I don't know if you can see it, but substrate is also really important in this tank. They're so happy. Look at them. I wish my camera was better so you could see them. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. We have photosynthesis, so the plant removing carbon, using that CO2 that the fish produce and that other things produce in that tank, and then releasing the oxygen that the fish need, because although they don't have lungs, they have gills. They do also do cellular respiration, right? They need ATP. Look at all that energy they're spending right now just swimming. So it is very important as well that they need that oxygen in order to create the ATP necessary for their daily activities. And the plant will then allow that to happen. The plant will give them the oxygen necessary. So if you like this and you want to do more research on it, maybe nitrogen fixation in the tank, how does that work? There are tons of bacteria in this tank that are taking care of that nitrogen. I was thinking of maybe adding some snails. Maybe you want to tell me what adding snails would do to this tank or how it would help. Or if you can think of anything else to add to the tank and you want to maybe research that and see how we can better this, let me know. All right, guys. Till then, see you later.